right, home stretch, 9:38, 866-660-5759. Now, let me play this out in order. We were talking about the Boston bombings as evidence, like so many other things, that there is evil in the world. And I suggested that there's no way to prevent stuff like this, but we can reduce, that it would be reduced if there were more people mindful of God and what he wants of us and what is expected of us, more people of faith actually going to church and hearing the good words available within those buildings. And then a gentleman called who was an atheist who he didn't take offense or anything, but he just he said that he didn't know if more faith would necessarily lead to better behavior. And I gave him what I thought would be a de facto evidence of this. I said, tell you what, your atheism aside, and I'll give you credit for being a good person who will maybe never break a law and never get divorced or never give in to the various evil things that in a fallen world. I'll give you benefit of the doubt there, but I want to ask you to make a bet. I'm going to give you 100 random atheists and 100 random reliable every Sunday churchgoers. And we're going to monitor the divorces, legal and moral, divorces and crimes of all of the above. Which group are you going to take? $1 million. And he said, well, I don't know. I don't know enough. And I lovingly said, you crazy. Take the churchgoers. And again, honestly, I think there are honest atheists out there who pretty well know I'm right about that. However, Zach Moore at the Dallas-Fort Worth Coalition of Reason, I love the titles of these folks, is at us and has a return challenge he offered me by email, and I wanted him to go ahead and give voice to that. So, Zach, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mark. It's great to be on the best morning show in Dallas.
You are more than kind. Okay, set the terms, and then I'll tell you what I think of them.
Well, you were talking about setting 100 atheists versus 100 Christians, and, there is this fantastic organization, the DFW Coalition of Reason, and we have thousands of atheists. So I was thinking maybe we'd take 100 atheists from our organization, compare them with 100 Christians from your church, and see how that
Gotcha.
comes out.
I would be inclined to take you up on that, maybe. But here's why it's just a maybe. First of all, I believe strongly in the folks at my church. But you know what? You've changed the terms somewhat. And this is going to wind up being quite a compliment. I hope you take it that way. Okay. Because my supposition, the premise was random. 100 random atheists and 100 random churchgoers. No particular church, not even any particular faith necessarily, just none of the marginal ones that that might do God knows what. Because here's the benefit of the doubt I give you guys. You folks that are in sort of atheist groups, the Coalition of Reason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I think, I'm going to guess, tell me if I'm wrong, that you are the folks who go out of your way to live lives that are just exemplary. Because you want to be living proof that was it y'all's billboard campaign that it's possible to be good without God?
Yes, that was us.
There you go. And which, of course, it is. I've always said it is. It's harder, but it is. And so I'm guessing that the 100 people from your organization would be some of the most sound citizens with an eye toward their own behavior every day. It doesn't approach the level of urgency that, having God and Jesus weigh in on your thoughts every day. But you guys are really on it behaviorally, really on it as citizens and as people. So it's a different bet. Now, let me ask you, would you be willing, and obviously it's a metaphoric bet, if it were 100 atheists just picked at random versus 100 regular churchgoers?
Well, I would love to explore it. It would be hard for us to find those people at random.
No, I'm not. No, please understand. I'm not actually talking about doing it. It's a hypothetical.
There are ways to discover that sort of information. There have been large sociological studies done.
Yeah.
In fact, the Barna Group did a study on divorce rates, and it turns out divorce rates were much higher among evangelical Christians than they were among the general population.
The general population. Mm-hmm. Evangelical Christians versus the general population. I'd have to see that. But again, the overall church-going folks in a church every Sunday, I don't care which or what flavor, I'm going to suggest that record's probably better than the 100 atheists.
Well, my experience, I was raised a Christian, so I know what it's like to be a Christian and be in church every week. And I also know what it's like to be an atheist now and be hanging around with all these atheists. I can tell you from my own personal experience that there really is no moral difference, and it's not harder to be moral as an atheist. In fact, if anything, it's a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about what God is telling you to do, how to interpret the Bible, and what he really means for your life. Well, let me demonstrate that for you. Let's do this challenge. Let's me go to church with you for a week, and then you come to our organization and hang out with us and just learn a little bit more about us and what
don't I know? I mean, I got to tell you, out of all the Christian talk show guys, you get the easiest ride from me. In fact, you get love from me. And in fact,
I know you are fantastic.
And in fact, I really want to get, because I just literally, it is harder. I mean, just by it's almost like mathematics. It's almost like math. Well, if you've got Group A trying to do good, and they are very aware of a God, of a divine influence on their lives that has high expectations for them and standards for them, and then Group B that has nothing but their own self-interest, self-concepts, the desire to do good and do right only for their intrinsic value. I'm here to tell you that is harder, and that means I actually give you credit, kind of additional little bit of bonus credit for doing it.
And that's wonderful, and I appreciate the kudos. But Mark, it's not harder, and that's the point, I think, of ignorance that I would like to help educate you on.
Ignorance has to do with maybe there's, I don't know, sort of factual stuff or attitudinal stuff. It is of course it's harder. And that is something that
spend some time with us.
Please, I've been hanging out with atheists my entire life. I'm not living some insular
world.
You've
been hanging out with us.
I know it. I bet that would be fun.
Yeah,
and after doing so, I bet it would be just all kinds of wonderful, cool folks who are leading good lives and have good families and don't happen to believe in God. I know that already. I know that already.
And we're not having a hard time being moral.
I understand that too. I don't want to paint a picture of a daily struggle, like, oh my Lord, no pun intended. How can I keep from robbing a bank today? Not at all. But a lifetime led is going to place X number of dark urges onto all of us. And the people who are paying attention to faith have an easier time withstanding them than those without it.
I just don't know that to be true, Mark. I really don't.
Okay. I mean, we see things through our own lens.
So one thing that we can agree on, let's do this. One thing that we can agree on, what happened in Boston this week was horrible. Mm-hmm. It was evil. Whether that evil is supernatural or human, it is just the worst thing. And both of us, atheist and Christian, we need to work together to create a world where that sort of thing happens less and less and less frequently. Completely true. All right, what's the next snarky billboard campaign you guys have planned? Anything? Well, we're keeping that under wraps. What fun would that be? All righty. Hey, listen, man, God love you. I mean that literally. I appreciate you. And in fact, website plug it's the initials, right? DFWCOR. DFWCOR.org. DFWCOR.org, Dallas-Fort Worth Coalition of Reason, as if those of us who believe in God are somehow being unreasonable. Well, I've never seen a Church of Reason before, so. You're killing me. I think that they are not mutually exclusive. Well, not at all. I believe, let's hope not. I believe in things unseen, because that's the definition of faith. And I don't think that I believe that a power I have never seen and will never meet until I die created everything. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that's unreasonable. Well, that's certainly another conversation. Yes, we'll do that. We'll do that next time. Thank you, man. Right. Appreciate it very, very much. Take care. All right.